Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game 2 of the semifinal game between Platypus Slayer and Dunamai. Both of these players have fought very hard, have not lost a series yet, en route to this semifinal matchup. Now, spoiler alert, I'm going to spoil Game 1. If you haven't seen it, it is on the channel. It was a China mirror in which Platypus Slayer takes the victory, and now we're on Game 2. Because Plat won Game 1, Dunamai got to pick his map. He picked Great Plains. Platypus Slayer was required to pick his civ, picked Mexico. As we adjust the score board real quick. And Dunamai got to counterpick his civ and counterpicked as Sweden. Sweden having a pretty successful tournament so far. We'll turn the scoreboard on for you guys. So it's going to be interesting to see what each player's strats are going into this. Now, Great Plains, obviously, 3 trade post map, and lots of food scattered throughout, and plenty of coin mines throughout the map. Each player with a safe trade post that can't be taken by the other player. 2 coin mines in base as is standard, and then the 1 contested trade line. So let's take a look here. No active deck. We haven't yet to see that. We're going to turn Platypus Slayer's line of sight on, and he's going to grab 60 food out of this treasure, so going to be aging up a little bit faster with this. Doesn't have his shipment yet. Dunamai, on the other hand, just got his shipment. As we take a look at his line of sight, he's got a villager out here, going to be herding this probably toward this coin mine very early. Not using his explorer around, taking a look at his deck, JSSR. Now, I am aware of what this naming convention somewhat means. So that means Sweden I don't know. It stands for something. JS is like Sweden, and then SR means something. Maybe that means semi-rush. I think that might mean semi-rush. So we're going to have to pay attention and see what he does here as we hop over to Platypus Slayer, who certainly has a deck now. FF start, F this. I think this is one of his favorite maps or decks to use, where he can just do anything he wants with this deck. He's got the Salties, he's got the Chinacos, he's got a whole bunch of good upgrades cards. Caballeros, obviously, is a good one. Gorilla Tactus, Salty. So he can do basically anything he wants. Is opting to put a Hacienda wagon forward and potentially take this Cheyenne settlement, so he gets the Cheyenne Riders. A pretty decent, I'm guessing that's like a melee goon type unit, I think is what we're looking at there. Good against other cavalry. So we'll turn Fog of War off. We see Plat is aging with Queretaro. Not Quattrero, Queretaro. Which is pretty standard, I think, for most Chinese build orders. And Dunamai just clicking now with the Logistician, so he's going to get a military unit building and an arsenal from this deck, or from this age up. So potentially going to save the wood cost on a barracks or a stable, and is chopping wood probably for, well, not probably, definitely for more torps. Has the shipment built up. Got a lot of people on coin right now, more than usual. Getting 134, not quite enough. Needs 1 more wood. Yep, realizing that now. And there it is. Now going to throw that torp down. And again, taking this herd in, we're going to hop over back to Platypus, who's about a quarter of the way further up along the line, now taking Explorer hit points by 30%. Doing a very good job of creeping that in, but His opponent's explorer is nowhere to be found, so didn't necessarily need to do that, but that's not something you know in the heat of the moment. Explorer hit points up by 30% now. 775 hit point explorer. Now aging up, has the shipment stocked, is going to send... I don't know. He dropped an inspiring flag somewhere. He's going to have this barracks built up and is now finally sending in 3 Chinacos to raid. We're going to hop over to Dunamai, who's just about finished aging up. Has quite a lot of coin in the bank. A lot of coin. So that signifies possibly that we're going to see some Jaegers. Yep, so there's the Jaeger shipment. And still gathering coin. Going to be dropping Tapsa's Tavern. And the arsenal down. So he's going to be going mercs, I guess. Which, you know, as a Sweden main is something I've tried and found fairly unsuccessful, seeing as the mercs, even though Sweden gets a discount on them, are just incredibly expensive and hard to mass. And once you lose them, you know, you have to do really cost-effective trades. The Fusiliers is a good card. We've seen Tio use that in this tournament to go raid some villagers. They are incredibly fast, and the 3 of them one-shot a villager. So we're going to have to see and pay attention to that. Maybe he might not get the chance, though, to do so, though, as Platt is going to come in with these 3 Chinacos and 5 Salties that he's trained. More Salties being shipped. And these Fusiliers going to one-shot a Chinaco, kite away. Going to one-shot, not quite one-shot the other Chinaco. I guess one of the Chinacos took some TC fire. And these Salties are going to try and chase these Fusilier back. Unfortunately, Salties are not fast enough to catch the Fusiliers. Fusiliers are just incredibly fast. I'm going to hop back over to Dunamai, who's sending 700 wood behind this, still gathering mostly coin. This wood, I'm guessing, is going to be used to build some more torps. As we see these Fusiliers kind of coming down. Going to try and spot out, well, he's going to spot out the Explorer and the Disciple, and the Padre, going to catch up to the Padre. One more shot will take him down. There he goes. Oh, sorry, it wasn't the Padre. It must have been a rescued something or other, as the Salties now show up and sniping one of the Fusiliers, although it doesn't matter because 3 more Fusiliers have been trained, and that's going to be a shock for Platypus, I'm sure. He's like, hey, I got one of the Fusiliers. I don't have to worry about getting one shot anymore. Nope. Here's 3 more. You thought. So possibly a little bit of a terrifying situation for Platypus there, who is still trying to figure out what he wants to do with his rush. Let's pop over. We have the Explorer over here gathering some treasures. Maybe going to try and find out where the villagers are, but these Fusiliers are going to walk their happy little merry ass around the backside and maybe try and snipe a villager or 2. Not seeing this raid, very unfortunate. Platypus, obviously, with his line of sight, going to be seeing this and chasing these away. And these Fusilier are dead. Maybe. I don't think Platt cares about that. He's just going to push into this base as these Fusiliers are going to come around and not spot anything. We're going to hop. Oh, we're still on Dunamai's perspective, who is sending in Flintlocks, sending in House of Bernadotte, previously labeled team heavy artillery hit points. Now dropping a church in the back to get some shipments in faster. These Fusiliers are going to be sieging down this house to no avail as the saloon is going down, spotted by Platypus Slayer. You know, he doesn't really need this saloon. He could do just as well with a barracks here and train Fusiliers from the barracks once he sends the Fusiliers. So interesting decision from Dunamai here. Doesn't look like it's paying off, as these Fusiliers are, well, they maybe found one of the villagers. Interesting to see. Don't know if he was able to snipe one or not, but let's see. Minutemen now being called for Dunamai is going to take out the Insurgentes, as the massive Salties came to try and deal with the Fusiliers, who are now retreating back to base. Both players, it would appear, doing nothing but coin. Dunamai is idle with 8 of his villagers. Platypus Slayer not idle at all. Explorer going to be sieging down this barracks. Not that that's going to do anything. The mass is here. The mass is going to push in. We're going to hop back over to Dunamai, who has, you know, still 6 Minutemen. Has a hole, is building, what is this, a tower? Nope, building a Torpin base. Interesting decision there. The Minutemen going to go down, seeing as they are close to 1 HP. And where are the Fusiliers? They're over here sniping villagers. So very good on Dunamai's part to get some villager kills while his opponent is in his base, potentially not paying attention. But this Dunamai is going to have to do something about these units that are in his base. The Arsenal going to go down. Still, you know, these Fusiliers are 300 coin each. Right? 300 coin. So 270 coin for Sweden. But it doesn't matter. The Saloon goes down to some Soldado grenades, because why don't they have grenades? It only makes sense. Now on 13 idle villagers, sending Hussars to try and deal with the Salties. And these Fusiliers now realizing they have to come back or this town center is going to go down. It might go down anyways. More Soldados coming in for Platypus Slayer, who is putting on the pressure. 20 vills, 14 idols versus 27 for Platypus. Thankfully, these Fusiliers are fast enough to get in, taking the Soldados down one at a time. The Fusiliers are going to hop onto the Salties as best they can, but actually doing a pretty good job of it. Plenty of Soldados left to wipe up the Fusilier mass, though. Still hanging out under the TC fire, Platypus Slayer is. Fusiliers going down. Dunamai has most of his economy still idle in that TC, but the Fusiliers are able to wipe the mass and take care of Platypus's early pressure. Still one Insurgente chilling out there, but Dunamai can finally go unidle. This Explorer chipping away slowly, getting about that barracks about half done. We're going to see how Dunamai responds, who is low on res right now, low on villagers, 22 to 27 for Platypus Slayer. Still trending Soldados, probably going to pop out and take Sven Hedden head on and knock him down. Sure enough, there he goes. Escaping, actually, with 17 health. Would you look at that? The Soldados made it out alive. 700 coin coming in now for Platypus Slayer, who may be angling for an age up here fairly soon. 28 vills. He's done enough pressure to Dunamai to buy him some time to age. He knows he got the military production building down. We're going to take a look at his perspective. He's seen a lot of Dunamai's base, so we will see what he does here. No, instead deciding to train 10 Insurgentes. The coin is not in yet, so we'll see what happens when that does come in. Dunamai had sent 700 coin. I did see that. Still no trade post for either player here. Dunamai still macroing for nothing but coin now, training the Fusilier out of the barracks, which probably would have been the best bet to begin with a logistician. If you're going to send the Fusiliers, because you can get them trained from the barracks, you still have a discount. Has a priest out. We're going to turn Fog of War off to see the remass here. Platypus controlling at least 2 hunts for the future when he ends up going in. And I'm going to take a look down here as we see 4 Fusilier. Going to get 1 more villager for Platypus, who is on 30 now. These Fusilier have kind of evened up the villager count. So if this can get held off by Dunamai with the Torps, who is at, he's only at 5 Torps, unfortunately. So he's going to have to get a few more Torps to get back into the battle. But if he gets those Torps, you know, still only down a score, get the Torps up. There's plenty of coin mines around here. There's another Torp going up. He can get right back in this battle. as we see Soldados, Insurgentes, and Salteadors now coming in, finding the barracks, going to try and siege this down really quick. The Fusilier, up to 7 of them now coming in, and I think this barracks is not going to survive the onslaught of Soldados, as these Fusiliers are going in for a raid now instead of coming back for the save to save his life. He's got a stable up in the back somewhere training Hussar to try and deal with the mass here, but and a shipment buildup. But again, he's stuck in Age 2, has sent all his military shipments. No leather cannons in the deck in favor of March of the Hackapelots, which has not been sent yet. Leathers might be pretty useful here. He doesn't have the wood for it, or the food for it, thanks to 5 Fusilier, or 5 Hussar pop. The Fusilier now going to come in. This might be a good pinch maneuver. But all the economy now going down for Dunamai as the converge happens. That's going to be another torp down. Dunamai now popped. 52 out of 50. Unable to train any more villagers until he gets some more torps up. Has 500 wood chilling. And these Fusiliers are not good, getting good trades for the Hussar. These Fusilier are going to scare away the mass a little bit, but Dunamai, 600 wood in the bank. That's at least 4 torps that you could have built, and you wouldn't have any issues that you're having now with, being close to the pop. 27 vills to 32, so the lead is 5 for Dunamai. 600 coin now coming in. Doesn't have a barracks though to train any Fusiliers out of, and he's got plenty of wood, so a little bit flustered, not really doing the right things that would get him in this game. This game is not over for Dunamai if he does things properly. One of the incorrect things I could say would be building that torp next to nothing, only gathering from that berry bush. Building villagers, still not building any extra torps. We're going to hop over to Platypus, who 72 out of 80 has a decent military force here, has got quite a bit of units actually. And the salty Soldado is going to be causing even more damage. I don't know if Dunamai he doesn't even have Dominions in the deck, so has to gather this up the old-fashioned way rather than sending it to the torps. So maybe a few key cards going down, or not in the deck for Dunamai, who's not really known to be a Sweden main, being a little cheeky here, only getting 3 Hussar out now for the defense. He's already called town center, or his militiamen, so this town center really only has enough. It has to have 10 villagers in it for defense. Some clever raids going on, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter, as Dunamai is just falling further and further behind in terms of pace. He's got these Fusiliers, which account for a lot of his score, but the mass is just going to be too big for Platypus Slayer. I think these Fusiliers getting picked off slowly but surely. 30 XP going the way of Platypus for everyone that goes down. We're going to hop over to Dunamai's perspective again. Now has 700, nearly 800 food or wood. I said the other 2 resources before anything else. And 1,300, that's going to be a quick one after all, he says, as Mexico takes the victory over Sweden. GG, yep, there it is. Finally being called. Platypus goes up 2-0. This is a best of 5 series, ladies and gentlemen. So Platypus now on game point as we take a look at the post game. Least resources. I would never say that Dunamai was out of this game, but only if he had become a little bit less flustered. So he had 800 wood in the bank. That's a barracks or 2, or a stable, or a artillery foundry to make some leather cannons. Leather cannons would have dealt with this mass pretty good. You have the eco for it. You know, you don't need this coin in base. You build an artillery foundry and a barracks and 2 to 3 torps with what you have back here, and you've got the macro 4 leather cannons. I mean, I'm seeing 5 leather cannons right there that he can train. That deals with that mass. So just little things that someone who doesn't main Sweden possibly wouldn't understand, and again, being flustered by the rush. So well played to Platypus Slayer to take advantage of the entire Merc build from Dunamai to go on match point. Dunamai has to reverse sweep to enter the grand finals. We'll see if he does it in the next one. Peace out, and we'll see you soon.